When the Barbie movie was originally getting pitched to studios, Margot Robbie tried to tell them that she thought this could be $1 billion movie. Now, even she did admit that maybe she was overselling that a little bit, maybe she was overhyping that a little bit, and even though the projections looked like it was certainly going to get off to a strong start, I'm not sure how many people would have taken a bet that it would reach $1 billion. But now that we're through the first weekend at the box office, that potential is actually there, because both Barbie and Oppenheimer had massive opening weekends, completely outdid their projections, and when it comes to Barbie on a global scale, it is massive. Barbenheimer was even bigger box office success than we thought. Final totals, $162 million domestic for Barbie in one weekend and $82 million for Oppenheimer. When you look at the global numbers, it's even more insane. $356 million global debut for Barbie, $180 million for Oppenheimer. And with numbers like that, that $1 billion number is actually something that people now have to talk about, because when you compare it to things, when you compare it to the opening, say, for Super Mario Brothers, and you compare the Monday that it's about to have to something like Super Mario Brothers, you can see why people are having that conversation. These are the projected numbers for Monday. They haven't come out officially yet, but this looks like what they're going to be. Barbie movie, $24.7 million on a Monday. To put that in perspective, after this massive opening weekend for Barbie, look at how this would stack up to the Monday for Super Mario Brothers. The Super Mario Brothers Monday, it had a weird opening, right? It had a 5-day opening instead of a 3-day, but its Monday was a $20 million. This would be $5 million ahead of that. Obviously, Super Mario did $1.3 billion worldwide. I don't know if the audience is quite as big or long-running as we saw for that movie, certainly. But the fact that these two are even in the same conversation has been shocking for some people. Now, I had been talking about for a while, whenever it got brought up on a stream or a show I was on, anything like that, that I thought it was going to do better than people thought. I didn't think that people were going to have as big of a problem with some of the messaging because it's such a female-centered audience. And with all the discussion that's been out there, I finally decided I had to see this thing for myself. Now, I didn't go to the theater to watch it, but I was somehow able to get my hands on it, if you understand what I'm saying. And I gotta admit, I think that some of the, it's just the most woke, the most I think some of that's just overblown, to be honest with you. This is clearly a movie that's targeted towards adult women who played with Barbies growing up. And it's kind of, to me, talking about, hey, remember when you were a kid? Remember when you used to think the world was going to be perfect, and then you realized that the world really wasn't that way, and trying to come to terms with that and realize that that's okay. I have all these struggles in my life, but that's just part of what life is. I'm not going to get into a whole review of it or anything right now, but at the end of the day, does it have some feminist messaging and some woke stuff in there? Yeah, it does, but it's a brand that's exclusively targeted towards women, and it's a movie that is made for those women that played with Barbies growing up. That's how I see it. It's not a movie that was made for me. There's a couple funny parts in it. The whole thing seems more lighthearted and cheeky than anything else, to be honest with you. And of course, Ryan Gosling as Ken, I think a lot of people love that character. And I think through that character, they do acknowledge at times the difficulties that men struggle with too in the world. So I don't think it's some massive, the worst, the most anti-male. I don't think it's that. The target demographic for this clearly isn't dudes, and that's okay. It's okay to have movies that are geared towards women, okay to have movies that are geared towards men. We don't need to feminize all these different masculine brands in the same way that we don't need to shove masculine shit into the feminine brands, in my opinion. Now, the bottom line is, how are people receiving this? And the result speaks for itself. What we're seeing, the momentum, I do think it's going to carry into next weekend. I don't think we're going to see the same hold as something like Super Mario Brothers, like a 37% hold. That would be wild. But I don't think we're going to see some massive fall off. I do think this is something that's going to continue to make a lot of money throughout the next few weeks. But it is undeniable at this point that this movie is an absolute monster at the box office to go along with Oppenheimer. This shows you can have two very different movies for very different audiences put out at the exact same time, and both of them can be massive success. That's what we're seeing with Barbie and Oppenheimer. Let me know what you guys think about all this in the comments section below. Smash a like button, subscribe to the channel, ring the bell for notifications, share this video out there, and I'll talk to you later.